Hi there. Welcome to this podcast, The 11th Man, a Pan-Africanist Theory. My name is Olatunde. I love Africa, and I really love to talk and think. I think about all sorts of things. I think about things from fashion to philosophy to physics to psychology. I think about religion, sex, culture, all of it, literally. So, I really want to talk, and I want to be talked to. And that's why we're here, really. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I believe in learning a lot. I also believe in ensuring that the lessons that you've learned are appropriately shared. And so I will be talking about my learnings and my thinkings, the thoughts that are going through my mind as an African, as a Nigerian man in 2020 or whatever year I'm making whatever episode, right? And then I also want to be talked to. I want to learn from people. So on this podcast, we'll talk to people who are doing amazing things in different spheres in Africa, right? Africans that are just getting it done. You get that type of thing. And so apart from that, the aim would be for all of us to be able to document our history and our times and to also be able to learn. In my culture, we say, "Kofo logbon, kofo ogbo logbon shogbon," which means that you use another person's wisdom to be wise. It's amazing stuff. But yeah, and it's the combination of these things, the fact that I listen to podcasts, the fact that I love Africa, the fact that I love to talk and think, everything that I am, and the fact that I love podcasts, that's why I'm talking to you, that's why we're here. So this will naturally take us in all sorts of directions, how our upbringing has affected our way of life and the way we see life. And by affected, I don't mean negatively. I mean contributed, impacted, all of it. The lessons that we've learned from it, what is Africa to you? You know, if I have someone in the studio today that we're talking to, I'll be asking them, what do you think Africa has contributed to you and who you are? Do you understand? So we'll talk about the positives of it, the negatives of it. We'll talk about the current stereotypes we're facing on a global scale. But we'll try to make all of these natural. We might just end up spending the entire time talking about one topic. But just ensuring that it's worth your time and that we're having really pithy conversations, right? So when we're talking to people on this podcast, what we really want to do is to just get into their brains and showcase the amazing interior to the entire world. We want to ensure that the African thought is put out there. And then when we're not talking to someone in the studio, well, you would be in my own head. I hope the interior is beautiful for you. But I promise it will be fun. And we would have fun here. I'm sure of it. I don't have everything planned out totally. I mean, we're recording the first episode, so we've done some planning, thankfully. But it would evolve naturally and it will go in different directions. So, welcome to The 11th Man, a Pan-Africanist Theory with Ola. Welcome to a journey into my brain. So, let's get into it a little bit more. The vision of this podcast really is to showcase Africa and the thought leaders that are shaping her tomorrow. But I believe that Africa's tomorrow is being shaped today. And I believe that the thought leaders are us. When I was younger, we used to sing this song in nursery school. It's a really great song, by the way. Parents, listen to your children. We are the leaders of tomorrow. Try to pay our school fees and give us a sound education. And then I realized that Tomorrow is today. The more we keep looking forward to a brighter tomorrow and keep postponing the actions of today, the more tomorrow will get away from us. And those leaders that we were to be tomorrow, because tomorrow is today, guess who the leaders are? We are. We complain a lot about how Africa's history is not properly documented and how there have been lies that have been told to us and all of that. The responsibility is on us right now. You know, one of my favorite Nigerian heroes is Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Fela made great music. But apart from making great music, Fela was a great guy. He fought for stuff, he stood up for stuff. And in Nigeria today, people significantly respect Fela. Not only was Fela great in the things he stood up against, he was also great in the things he stood up for, in the music that he made. Today you listen to Wizkid, great musician. You hear Kiss Daniel, you hear Pato Rankin, you hear all these people. But in the voices of those people, in Burna Boy's voice, you hear Fela a lot. And that is because he spoke the minds of the people. He was the voice of the people. And today we read history books and we talk about Fela. Tomorrow, they're going to read history books and talk about us or not if we don't do anything. And so this podcast is my own contribution. I really don't know if it will be the only contribution or if I will contribute more. But I'm proud to be starting this, and I'm really excited about it. And I hope that it would be a worthwhile contribution in not only me saying my own thoughts, but in speaking to people that come into the studio or that we meet wherever. And I'll talk about that a little bit. We would have two styles, as it were, for the podcast, but it should be fun and interesting. So the technology that we have in our days right now allows us to be able to do this kind of thing. And I think that it would be negligent of us to not leverage it appropriately and then still turn back and say our history was not properly documented or lies were passed down to our kids. And so this is me taking my own role and trying to play it, like trying to run with it, you know, and say this is my contribution. Like I said before, I believe that Africa's tomorrow starts today. Yesterday we were tomorrow's leaders, but today is tomorrow. Tomorrow is today. And we have to tell our stories. Apart from telling our stories, I also want to geek out about Africa. You know, what is Africa to you? African food, right? Nigerian food is amazing food. The culture, the music, all of that. We want to be able to talk about them, to enjoy them, you know, to get perspectives on them and see how your own personal philosophy, in this case, my personal philosophy and the philosophies of the people that I talk to, how they have evolved as a result of being African. And so we would have two types of episodes, like I said before. There will be some episodes where it would just be me talking, and there will be some episodes where I would have someone I'm talking to. It might be via Zoom, or we might be in a coffee shop together, or maybe when I do travel to some place that they are, I might be able to also get to talk to some people there. And so that would be the two styles, as it were. For the ones where we would have people in the studio, you would have us talking about their thought processes, their drives, their experiences, their life philosophies. We would ensure that we don't have the traditional fluffy type of interview. It wouldn't be super, super serious, right? But we want to be able to get into their brains and really see, like I said before, the beautiful architecture that is in there, right? The truths that they've discovered about Africa, the ways they found to thrive in the current craziness of Africa, right? Yeah, and then we'll talk to people that are doing interesting work in different areas. You get to hear of nice things happening in different countries. It's really going to be Pan-African in that I want to be able to, travel a bit, go to places and talk to people, showcase work done in places where we didn't even know people were doing that type of thing, right? And then bringing out the African hero, and what he's doing wherever he is, right? Or she is, for sure. So, the 11th man. What the hell is that? So I am the 11th man. I was born on the 11th of November. So November is 11th month. So that's 11/11. I definitely have something with that number 11. So you can say I'm the 11th man, but I don't think it makes sense. It just didn't stick. That's the first part of where the name of the podcast came from. The second was that I was looking through a list of names that I drafted when I was younger for potential businesses and things like that. And something jumped out to me there. I took that and then figured, the number 11 is something that I really like, and then I put it in there. And it really stuck for me when I thought about it, thinking from the perspective of something that my pastor used to share when I was younger. I used to go to church a lot when I was younger. I still go to church. My mother should not hear that I don't go to church, so I go to church more. But yeah, it was talking about the number scale. And he said from number 1 to 10, that's an entire spectrum, as it were. But then the number 11 is number 1 on another level. And I think that really makes sense in that we're definitely standing on the shoulders of giants. We're definitely standing on the shoulders of giants, people that have come before us. But I think that we're at a very crucial point in history, and we really need to take action. And this is the beginning of that new narrative, right? So that makes me the 11th man, as it were. And then the Pan-Africanist Theory, where's that from? I always think about the problems of Nigeria. I think that Nigerians are great people. Wallahi talai. Nigerians are amazing people in every sphere of it. But the problems of Nigeria, the country, they are crazy. They can give you headaches. It's like you're trying to think through it, and then you get in a knot, and then that knot leads into another knot, knotted in another knot inside of the belly of another knot. You get, it's crazy stuff. And I really feel like some of those problems are quite intractable. And we'll talk about some of the reasons why I think so in future episodes. And the more I have traveled, the more I have seen that Africa really is Africa. You get, the places that I've been, there's just a vibe, there's a spirit there. And over time, I've started to see myself as an African, not more than being a Nigerian, but as well as being a Nigerian. It might sound crazy, but the Africanness in me was not as pronounced when I was younger as it is now, when I've traveled and seen other parts of Africa, heard my Kenyan friends speak Swahili, heard Kenya, Rwanda, all of that stuff, and been to some places, and just seeing how that is almost a replica of where I'm from, right? Even though we speak different languages and things like that. And I'll tell you something. I think that the problems of Africa can be easier solved than the problems of Nigeria. It's a theory I have. And so these days I'm thinking more Africa than Nigeria. Nigeria is definitely part of Africa, so for sure. But that's where the Pan-Africanist came in from. And one of our focus would be to talk about the things that are happening in Africa, in corners of Africa, people doing great work, like we said before, the African hero. And so I would love to travel to places and speak to people. I want to be able to talk to someone who's doing great stuff in fashion in Zanzibar, and then talk to a great reggae musician in Kenya, and talk to an Afrobeats guy, or someone doing some great stuff in marine science, or saving the planet, or cleaning Nigeria's gutters. You get, we want to talk about those people and move around and showcase all of that. That's where the Pan-Africanists came in from. And so it's a combination of all these my interests, like I said before, podcasts, Africa, thinking, talking, having fun, all of that stuff, that have brought me here, and that's why we're talking. And so if you're like me, and you like to think, you like Africa, you geek out about Africa, you think being African is fucking dope, and you want to hear of other people who are doing great things, you want to get in the minds of people that are like you, or that are not like you, then you would definitely enjoy this podcast. So you should join me. We will be having it every 2 weeks initially, but over time, I hope that we'll be able to get to a weekly schedule. But whenever we have the episodes come out, you should definitely tune in, because we're going to try to make sure that it's worth your time. So please subscribe, whatever podcasting platform you use to listen to your podcasts, to follow your podcasts. The podcast name is The 11th Man. You can, once you type that in, you should be able to find it. Subscribe to it, follow us, talk to us. Let's hear what you think. Does he talk too much? Does he talk too little? Is he too excited? Is he too not excited? I'm not one who is on social media too much, but it would be good to hear feedback and hear from people. Yeah, that's it.